All right, all right, all right. Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's another session of Tech Talk. Mike's got another great topic for us. What are we talking about, Mike?
Love songs and dedications. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Okay, so dedicated things, dedicated machinery, dedicated tooling. We're talking the pros, I guess, and of having dedicated equipment and tooling for particular procedures. I think the first thing I learned very quickly was to have a separate set of grouting discs for your machine, in the sense that obviously when power grouting and things like that, obviously your metals can become quite attached to the discs, and there can be a bit of a mess around and that sort of thing. So having a separate set of discs dedicated for grouting is certainly in the same vein of what we're talking about today. But I feel like you guys are going to take it a bit further. Dan, what do you reckon? What's some of the dedicated items that you think are a good idea?
To be honest, I think also when you're talking about tools, Mike, I think this is a really great topic. And we have a very great way of keeping continuity and keeping tooling set up on not just plates, but also rib changes to keep your resins on the actual discs. For one, it's so much easier, it's so much faster, and it keeps everything consistent. If you, for example, as we all know, the outer face of the actual tooling gets worn, we just flip them around 180 and it's ready. Because if you just pull them off of the actual disc every time, for one, you damage your resin holder disc, you delaminate it, and secondly, it takes so much longer and you damage it. So
rib change. I like it. Absolutely.
Man, I was getting a bit worried there when you introduced this, Mike, before. Started talking about dedicated and that sort of stuff. I thought this subject was going to be about commitment. I was nearly out of here.
Dedication, commitment. I'm making both words.
My dedicated piece of equipment is a dedicated skirt.
Mm-hmm. Now,
what am I talking about? Well, when we do our low grid grinds and that sort of stuff, we tend to chew up the skirt a bit, and that's all right. I can live with that, but I'd like to have one just for that. When we get into grouting, we've got a lot of additional slurry and grout being stuck to the skirt, and then after that we move into densifier using our resins, and we end up getting a lot of wet densifier, or can end up getting a lot of wet densifier sticking to the skirt and then drying up. And that, of course, sticks to some of the grout, which is a combination of the grout and the dust. So therefore, it does have calcium hydroxide in there, and that then creates little calcium silicate rocks once these two combine. And as you probably know from the experience, as you're grinding away or honing away, little bits of debris come up the rubber skirt. And now you've got all these really hard rocks floating around everywhere. I say eliminate that risk later on, creating a problem for you. And once you get up to your first stages of polishing, so when we're not using any more wet densifier, so typically around 400, toss the skirt off and put on your polishing skirt. And just eliminate one of those other things that you don't need to go wrong. Just remove the risk from the process and enjoy high gloss without scratch.
Josh, if I know you, that's not how you go. You wouldn't change skirts. I believe the other day you had a flat tire, and instead of changing the wheel, you just changed cars. I can just imagine you having like a polishing machine and a grinding machine, maybe even just a grouting machine. I reckon you just three different machines just to pull up with a semi.
I'm doing my best to be relatable here, okay? But yes, get a polishing machine, get a honing machine, get a grouting machine, and a grinding machine. 4 machines.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh doesn't believe in rib changes. He just has a machine for every step of the process.
Collect them all.
I guess what we're really dedicated about all the time is, sending the message to be the most productive, or, in the best quality that you possibly can. but also minimizing the risk. And what you just mentioned, Josh, is doing both of those things. One, it's increasing performance because you're not slowing down, you're not getting those scratches, but it's reducing the risk of, not being able to deliver the project in time and all the other things as well. So very, very important message about having dedicated, not just equipment, but, you could have a dedicated sprayer for your grout or your potassium or, Defend. Defend's a big one, for example, having a dedicated mop for it, or mop head, particularly water-based, solvent-based. So understanding and trying to minimize the risk is, I guess, the message we're trying to bring across as well here.
So if you've got your dedicated pump sprayer for your impregnating sealer, especially if it's solvent-based, I guess we're talking about pump sprayers, not electric sprayers, but hey, if anyone needs a 38-litre electric sprayer for impregnating sealer, I'm your rep. Because
don't do it, Mike.
Absolutely.
So Josh, I just wanted to quickly touch before we finish up. I want to touch on one more thing. Obviously, you had recently a project with a customer where you both worked out after talking for a little while that actually the cause of particular scratches on the floor were caused by not having dedicated set. Do you want to just quickly touch to why it's so important to have dedicated plates? Give us your best love song, Dedication, right?
Give you the Barry White of dedicated plates. Okay, so I guess probably the most important one is going to be GRTs, and that's for each set of GRTs that you have. Why? I'll explain why. When we have GRTs, they've got everything from 100 grit to 180 grit in them, which means that they've got a large volume of diamond particles in there with the alloy as well. So they're very, very resistant to wearing, which, we enjoy the benefits of that, but you might get 2,000 square meters out of your grading tool, which tell us that they wear very, very, very slowly. So if we knock them out of a set of plates, and then we go and do another job, and then we do all the low grit cuts again, and then when we get to the grading stage, we knock them back into a set of plates. We're knocking them in a different order, and they're not all flat in relationship to each other. And so what will happen is they'll sit on the floor and they won't be dead flat, and so we'll have a little bit more extra weight. We all know what the downside of having an overloaded segment is going to be looking like. It's going to be inconsistent, and it will leave an inconsistent profile on the floor. And you will notice this later on when you go to do your 50s, because you just get some light scratches in there after you've done your 50s, or even you might not see it till you've done 400, but let's say at that 50 stage you can see it, but you're struggling to remove it. There's no surrounding consistent texture to help you remove that anymore now that you've identified it. You're going backwards. So my advice is always to run a dedicated set of plates for each set of grading tools that you have. If you're not, you need to spend 10, 15 minutes just bedding those tools in before you actually start your grading.
Lovely, gents. I think if you remember recently, we had another tech talk in relation to milks and coffees and things like that, and now we're talking about dedicated machinery and dedicated tooling and for different processes. I guess it feels like we're just really trying to push that message out there that consistency is key, having faith in the process, and having your set process and your set steps, your dedicated machinery, dedicated tooling, dedicated chemicals. So yeah, I think it's all really a good blend, a good mix, good message to try and get out there a bit, I guess.
I've got more, Mike. I've got more. It's like you're wrapping it up.
A set of steak knives for another place.
I've got more. Oh, look, talking about removing variables, improving productivity and that sort of stuff, one of the big things you're saying. So if St. Hayden was here, he'd be saying, in order to remove some of the troubleshooting outcomes on a project, dedicate your grinding equipment to its own supporting leads and plates. Keep everything together as one unit. The reason why that is because you want to try and reduce the amount of variables. Even if you happen to substitute one plate from another identical machine that you have, and now you've got 2 from your existing one, and then you've got that one that just you borrowed from the other one. We've seen plates come in here, machines come in here with issues, inconsistent grinding pressure, because the plate that they got, although from the same manufacturer, was 2 millimeters thinner. And that is enough to throw everything out. So have your own dedicated set of plates for that machine. Have your own power leads for that machine. I mean, you want to create some headaches for yourself. Start mixing power leads between machines. It's going to make it really, really difficult from an electrical troubleshooting perspective. Keep everything consistent. Try and do that. If you are a world champion or Olympics sports person, you would have your training equipment, you'd have your racing equipment. You just wouldn't be swapping stuff over. All right?
Rhythm and routine.
Absolutely. Do the same if you're going to be a pro in this game. Take a leaf out of the professional athletes' books as well.
Do the same if you're going to be a pro in the game. I like it. Sounds like Nike or something.
And if you don't, you'll go insane.
Just do it. The same.
For those who don't know, hit up your reps, hit up all Works Plus resellers. We have demo heads, we've got ready lock plates for all different types of versions of machine, from Clindex to Schwamborn to HTC, Husky HTC, to just hit us up. We have majority of them covered. We just got a new one coming out. I can't release it quite yet, but we've got a new demo head coming out.
You're such a tease, Daniel.
Yeah, he is. We make everything for you guys. We're dedicated to you guys.
Yeah.
Performance.
Okay, that's lovely, guys.
Remember.
We're taking your calls. Love songs,
Hey,
dedication.
guys, I'm getting thirsty.
Well, we're going to dedicate this time to a cold one, right?
I think so. Hey, everyone out there, hope you had a killer week and have an even better weekend.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Cheers, guys.
See you next week, guys.
And be loyal and be dedicated to your plates and your GRTs.
Oh. You mentioned Barry White a bit earlier. I think he made an appearance at the end there.
GRTs.
I tried to wrap it up, and then Josh was like, "Nah." So
wait, there's
that
more.
is the last time I'm wrapping things up. I'm never wrapping up again. I've done it twice in the last few videos, and then people just keep veering back. So you're on your own, boys.
If you buy 2 sets of demo heads, 3 steak knives. But wait,
Yeah.
but wait,
But wait.
sham wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can just imagine you with a sham now and like a Snuggie and just different plates for your grinding.
I was going to say,
in case that's
like night. And he's starting some steak knives and some demo heads.
it's in case you spill my beer, you know, I can just scoop it up and they're just like, no drop gone to waste, you know.
I think it needs to be like, with every set of plates, you're gonna get a bunch of roses.
Mm.
It's your GRTs.
I'm just going to send you some chocolate GRT plates. Just
Well, they come in a chocolate box, so
They do.
absolutely.
all right.
All right, chaps.
Time to hit the road.
Thanks, gents.
Road.
Ah, what height? Height me.